What would you do if after getting married, you found out that your husband disappears every midnight to God knows where? Story time. 1 month after I got married, I noticed something weird about my husband. Every time I wake up at early hours of the morning, either to use the restroom or get a glass of water, I noticed that he was never there in our room. I would go around the house to look for him, but he would be nowhere to be found. Sometimes I would even go as far as going outside the house to the compound and boys' quarters, but he wouldn't still be there. This whole thing seems so strange to me because when we were dating, I didn't for once spend the night at his place. Now that we are married, it's all new to me. One night, I woke up and discovered that our room door was left slightly open and my husband was gone as usual. I went back to sleep. By the time I woke up the next morning, he was lying next to me. I asked him where he went to around midnight. He looked at me and laughed. And he told me that I must be dreaming, that he never left my side all night. I'm confused. Like, how was I dreaming when this isn't the first time it's happening? I decided to dig deep and find out everything. The next night, we went to bed together. I pretended to be asleep. At exactly a minute to 12 midnight, my husband got up, looking confused as if he was being summoned. He got off the bed and started walking towards the door without looking back. It's as if he was being pulled by a force. As he walked out of the room, I followed him. He walked straight without looking back or sideways. He looked completely different from the man I got married to. He walked through this dark, narrow path. I had to stop and put on my torchlight. By the time I looked up, he was off my sight, like he disappeared with no trace. The only thing I could see was this glowing sign on the ground. I wanted to cross it. Something stopped me because something didn't seem right. I turned and ran back home. I couldn't even sleep when I got home. I eventually slept off. When I got up the next morning, my husband was sleeping next to me. I went to the kitchen to make breakfast. The whole place was filled with strange feeling and this certain strong smell. I could feel some presence around me. I had goosebumps all over my body. I was freaking out. Then someone tapped me from behind. I quickly turned to see my husband smiling at me. He said good morning as if nothing happened. I served breakfast. As we were eating, everywhere was so quiet. My husband couldn't stop smiling. He broke the silence by asking me why I followed him last night. I sat there, stared at him speechlessly. Then I stood up and went straight to the room. He followed me. He asked me again, did you not follow me last night? I didn't want to give him any answer. I told him that I wasn't feeling fine, that I needed to rest. He kissed me on my cheek and left for work. My mind could not rest. It was full of thoughts. I decided to follow him again. What I discovered this time, I wished I never followed him. This time, I was determined to find out everything by myself. Where did my husband disappear to last night? That night, after my husband left at exactly a minute to 12 midnight, I got up, took the same path that he took the previous night. When I got to the place where he disappeared last time, there was no sign. Instead, there was a strange house that wasn't there the previous night. I hid outside the house to know if I could see anything. Suddenly, the lights in the house turned on and the curtains opened. Then I saw my husband comfortably seated in the house, smiling and chatting with this very beautiful young lady. The lady kissed him and hugged him. He proceeded to the kitchen and brought him some food. When I looked closer, the food was the exact food I made for my husband earlier on. That night, I was confused. Who is this lady and where did she get this food from? Because that's the food I made by myself. I just concluded that my husband was having an affair with this lady. He even brought my food to her house. I decided to record the whole situation as an evidence. I noticed something strange. I could clearly see my husband's face, but when it comes to the lady's face, I couldn't see anything. She had no eyes, no nose, no ears, no mouth, no nothing, like a molded sculpture with no facial features. I thought maybe my phone lens was dirty, so I cleaned it and recorded the video again, and it came out the same. I looked up to find this young lady giving me this hot stare. I took off immediately without looking back. When I got home, my dear husband was fast asleep in the bed, like he never left. At this point, I was really confused. I wanted answers to all the questions I have in my head. Who is this strange lady? Why does my husband keep disappearing every midnight at exactly the same time? I made up my mind to confront my husband. In the morning while we were having breakfast, I began by saying, at exactly 11:59 p.m. every night, you disappear. Where do you always go to? He looked at me and said, oh, you know everything and you have been pretending all this while. I'm like, is this man serious? The last time I asked you about this, you denied it and told me I was dreaming. Now you're saying this. I asked him again, The woman you were with the other night, who is she and why did you take my food there? I saw her serve you that same food. His face turned pale. He dropped his spoon and then let out this heavy sigh. He said to me, honey, I don't remember any of these things you are telling me. I don't have memories of anything that happens around those hours. This has been my ordeal for the past years now. I noticed it when I started waking up in strange places that I've never been to. Sometimes I wake up with my feet and fingers covered in molds, smelling so bad. He went ahead to tell me that even the house I saw him in last night, he doesn't even know how he got there. After his confession, I knew something was off and I needed to step up and do something. I asked him, why didn't you tell me about this before now? He told me he was afraid that something bad might happen to me if he tells me. I held him by his hands, wiped off his tears because he was already tearing up. I told him that night I will be coming with him to confront that lady. Before midnight, we read different Bible verses and prayed. At exactly 11:59 p.m., my husband got up as usual. I followed him immediately. We went through that same path. When we got to the house, the door was open, the lights were on. And the strange thing here was we met this lady standing in front of the house as if she was expecting us. She said to us, welcome, I'm happy to see you both. My husband asked her, who are you and what do you want from me? She smiled and said, I'm your lovely wife and you are my husband. My husband looked confused. He said to her, what do you mean by I'm your husband? I only have one wife and she's here with me. She frowned and said to my husband, your grandfather made a promise to me. She then brought out a bracelet and said, this was your granddad's. He gave it to me and made a deal with me that every first male child of his lineage belongs to me. They became my husband the moment they were born. So you belong to me forever. At this point, I had to step in. I asked her, you know that he's married to me. I'm his legal wife. So what do you want me to do? She looked at me and she said, I have two options for him. Either he stays with me forever and you, his wife, go with everything he has, or he goes with you and I will take a part of him with me forever. But know this, his life will never be the same. I already knew where this was going. My husband's granddad made a spiritual transaction and it doesn't look good at all. My husband turned to me and said, I'm staying with you, honey. I'm not going anywhere. The lady looked at my husband with this angry expression. Then she stretched out her hands towards my husband, roared. The lights went off. The earth quaked. My husband fell on the ground, screaming. He kept rolling and screaming on the floor. Then he stood up, looking lost. He turned to me and said, where am I and who are you? You look sad. Are you lost? And why are you crying? I said to him, I'm fine and I'm your wife. He looked even more confused and said to me, I don't have a wife. I don't even know you, so how are you my wife? When I looked around, both the lady and the house were gone. I just stood there with a grown man, with a child's mindset and zero memory of his past. Now I blame myself for even suggesting that we confront this lady. Would you have done anything differently? Let me know in the comment section, guys.